Hi, I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
And I'm Arthur Nolan.
And welcome to Making It Work. Our topic for today, the do's and don'ts of a healthy relationship, the making of a good marriage. Arthur, what are some of the, the good points of making a good marriage?
Well, we have to start out with good communication.
Okay, you got to have good communication.
That's very essential when we talk about good points.
All right.
And then the second thing is we're talking about finances.
Yes.
Making sure that the finances, we can work it out, we can work together and establish some type of good working relationship for finances. But the third thing, Kim, you're not going to really want to believe this.
What is it?
We're talking about responsibilities and chores.
Okay, Arthur, what's your favorite chore not to do?
Well, I don't do windows, Kim.
I know it. You know that? Remember when we got married, that was in the wedding vows? He said that in our wedding vows, I shall not dust and do windows. And to this day, he has kept those vows, all right? But listen, we want to welcome our guests today, Brandon and Alice Dent. Welcome to Making It Work. How you doing today?
We're doing great.
You look great.
Thank you.
All right, our first question.
Brandon, my first question to you guys is, how did you meet?
How did we meet? Well, we met in church.
Okay.
I was sitting in what they call the annex. It was not in the main sanctuary. It's where the young kids like to hang out because we like to talk and goof off a little bit. And in the middle of my goofing off comes in this really beautiful girl. Beautiful young lady, and just stunned me. All of my goofing off came to a complete halt. My friends thought, hey, what's wrong with this guy? But I had been smitten, and I made it a point to meet this young lady.
Yes.
That was interesting. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he said
was stunned.
Smitten.
He said stunned first, but okay. All right. My second question to you, Brandon, is how long have you been married?
Yes.
We've been married 26 years now.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. I try not to get too excited about numbers of years.
Okay.
And try to get more excited about the quality of those years.
Right. And when you talk about quality, can we just talk about some of the things that make it the quality of a relationship? What are those, Brandon?
Mutual support.
Okay.
They say no man is an island, and I think when we're young, as men, we think we are okay as islands, but later on in life becomes a little more complicated, and it really is a good thing to have a partner. And I think Adam said it best when he said, Lord, I'm lonely. And he was in perfection.
Yes.
And so here we are in sin. How much more do we really need a good partner?
All right, so that's support. Alice, what else do you think goes into that healthy, good relationship? Because, first, before you answer that, I want to talk a little bit about your family of origin. You shared with us before that you came from a single-parent family. Tell us about that, and then let's go back and we're going to connect that.
Okay, you're right, Kim. I was raised by a God-fearing, wise mother, but a mother that had to raise 8 children. So as the youngest in that household, I had a very dominant personality, and I took that dominant personality into my marriage.
All right.
And Brandon was the baby in his family, and he was extremely spoiled. Admittedly.
I can talk to that.
So you have a young lady with a dominant personality, and the baby in a family where he's spoiled. So we had to work through some things to really blend our two personalities and really make our marriage really in unison with God.
In working through those things, I know it didn't happen right away.
No, it didn't.
So we're talking about it took some years for you to come together?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah. We had to work at it.
When you talk about that dominant personality, I'm a strong, African-American woman, and I think dominance and you know.
It's true. You know, I'm giving you a compliment with that to a certain extent.
I appreciate that.
Right.
But, you know, I think being dominant can also be a blessing in a relationship.
It is. It is a blessing. But, you know, Brandon is the priest in our home. Okay. And I had to make sure that I release that right to him.
Okay.
It's his God-given right that I allow him to be the priest in our home. We can't all be moving towards a direction where we're all making all the decisions, and we make them together.
That's good.
I'm not beneath Brandon, and I'm not above Brandon. We walk together, but he is the priest in our home.
And when you talk about the priest,
Wait a minute, Kim. Wait a minute.
You want to do that?
I had to add something to that because that sounded fantastic to me. You know, that you recognized Brandon was the priest of the home. You know, that was an issue in our home. You know, and you know, I still have some pain behind that, but I'm gonna move through it.
You're gonna move through it.
Yeah.
We're gonna move forward.
I'm gonna move through the pain.
You know what? To our viewers, I had a difficult time releasing being, you know, wearing the pants because I wanted a friend, I wanted a husband, I wanted a man. But again, I wanted to be in charge all the time. I wanted to make decisions and let Arthur say, okay. That's not being supportive.
But I, in the beginning, you know, I think I was kind of kind.
You were very submissive.
Yeah, well, I don't know about being submissive. I think I was trying to make our relationship work.
But I think going back to what Alice said, being the priest, I had to also step aside and let Arthur become the priest. And it didn't happen overnight. It took years. Yeah. And, you know, we have viewers who may not know what that term means, you know. Would you like to explain what does that term mean, the priest of your household?
Well, maybe this will help you, Arthur.
Okay.
If you really pay attention to what Alice said she allowed me to be the priest.
That makes me feel better.
I got a little chuckle out of that. But what that means is we're both co-leaders of the family.
That's right.
It's very important to know that being a priest is a contract that I have with God.
That's right.
That I will be a proper spiritual example, that I will promote the things of God, study, family worship, regular morning and evening family worship. Those things, that's the contract that I make with God to do in the family and to be rock solid at that, whether I'm up or down. That doesn't transcend into me being in charge of all of the family dynamics. Because if I do that, then I lose the synergy that I can get by having a great partner.
And we don't want to lose that because, you know, we got married to be together, to work together. Parenting skills. Let's talk about your parenting skills and your styles. All right?
Well, as I said, I came from a dominant, a mother where I came out of the relationship with a dominant personality. I have an old school mentality. It's not just do what I say. However, I give my kids boundaries.
That's right.
I set boundaries, and at the end of the day, I am not going to reason with the child that I don't think know where their direction is. Brandon has a different parental style, and he can tell you about that.
All right.
But we had to put our two styles together
to blend them.
And blend them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, well, I grew up very talkative, communicative, and while my father was less tolerant of that, my mother was more tolerant. Apparently, she felt this is a different type of child. He kind of needs a little greater freedom of expression. And I do believe that worked well for me. And so because of that, I will engage the children a little bit more in dialogue and let them, you know, be freer with speech. And so Alice is less tolerant with that, and when we're dealing with a particular situation, we have to make sure that we still work together, so that the children still get the best out of that.
Both.
So is it easy for you to try to make peace within the household when there's some type of issue that may be existing within the home?
For me, I have learned, and it wasn't this way so much early on. I have learned that to have peace in the household, you have to make the decisions that bring peace and not necessarily the decisions you want to make.
That's right.
And so if I see, and this is just my approach, Alice has her way of doing things, but if I see that a way that even I may think is best, pushing for that decision is not the most peaceful thing at the time. It's better for me to kind of pull back so that peace will prevail, and then find another way, another time to kind of work out that difference.
Now that's what you call submission.
That's submission. But you know, after 28 years of
corporate submission, though, I mean, he's cooperating. He recognized that a situation would be easier if he pulls back. And you know, that's powerful.
And a lot of people don't know how to pull back. In our private practice in Detroit for 28 years, we have families who come in to Logan Communication Christian Counseling Clinic. And the one thing that they're looking for, viewers, is peace. We're looking for happiness. We're looking for joy. But what are the steps essential and necessary to find that? And you have to put a plan in place. And one of the things that we use as behavioral therapists is a treatment plan. And a plan that same plan can work within the family. All right.
Well, I think most families have a treatment plan, but what happens is we deviate.
We do
Sometimes when crisis occurs within the family, it makes us look for something different. You know, we have to take a risk to try to improve the situation at all times. But most importantly, I think if we continue the communication, then we can work together. I think that's probably the essential point. You guys tend to have a line of communication where you can discuss things, and even though you may have differences, you still are able to discuss it.
Okay.
It depends on the timing.
Yes.
Okay. If we were to say we are always at the place where we can discuss things, you know, I don't think that will really help the viewer to be able to appreciate the fact that that's not as realistic.
That's right.
So if I can go back to my first, to the statement, my previous statement, there are times where it's not a good time to try and communicate. It's a better time to be quiet.
You got to know when to pick your battles.
Exactly. But what you can count on, especially because the morning and evening worship, is that we don't get far in the day before we come to a point where we've got to come together in Christ.
That's right. Got to come together.
And I would feel like a hypocrite going into worship, having my children looking at me, and we're not even talking, and we don't even know how to get along. That's not acceptable.
And you see this in church. You see it where couples are not sitting together or communicating, but they'll speak to everyone else, but they're not each other. And the children are seeing this, and members are seeing this. And it's devastating, you know.
One of the things that we do, especially when we have disagreements, and we may, even though it's not good for us to sleep without making up, we may do that anyway. We may sleep and still have this issue. But what happens is, when the first thing that we do is we pray together in the morning. And that is really important because even though we may have disagreed on something the night before, the prayer itself seems to give us some type of motivation to find resolution.
So let's talk about that. How has God impacted your marriage and your family? How has he? How has God played a role?
Well, I just feel had it not been for God, I don't think we would be married. The divorce rate is high for various reasons. It's not an option for us.
That's it.
Okay, but I don't want it to just not be an option. I want it to be happy with the person that I'm with. Brandon's like this is my cheerleader. It's like Brandon, everything I do, Brandon is always behind it.
Yes, we see
so
that.
I feel that God's blessings is why we are still married. And not just married, but have some happiness in this marriage.
Friendship.
Absolutely. I have a friend.
You know, you're my friend.
I'm so happy.
You know, we went walking this morning.
Good.
And he went to the grocery store this morning.
Yes.
And did some things.
I did those things for you.
You gonna mop the kitchen floor when we get home?
I did most of those things for you.
So, you know, and that's why I feel, because Arthur and I were together, you know, with Family Live, with Aaron, when we travel. And, you know, it was something he said to me yesterday, Brandon, was really interesting. He wanted to go up and watch the game. And we've been together all day at church. We went to evening. We went to Great Lakes. And I said, you know, honey, you going to come in and sit with me in the family room? He says, honey, I've been with you all day. And I said, I'm going to watch the game. And I said, But honey, the day is still not over. I was hurt, Brandon Alice.
Yeah.
He went upstairs and watched the game, and I'm sitting downstairs. Is it something I said or did? So maybe it's that me time. So let me propose that question. What do you do for that personal me time? You know, is that good and healthy for the relationship?
Essential. Brandon is an individual.
Yes.
And he's a husband.
Yes.
He's a father.
Yes.
He's a brother. He has so many various roles.
That's
he
right.
needs time to spend time with his parents.
Yes.
Sometimes he'll take off. He'll go spend the day with his mothers and fathers.
Isn't that beautiful?
You know, he has friends.
Yes.
He's on the basketball league. Those things are important for him.
That's right.
I have my girls.
Yes.
I do things with them.
That's right.
I like to do things alone. Sometimes he and Alicia have to have their father and daughter time.
Yes.
So you can speak on that, but I think we have to have our balance. It has to be a balance.
It has to be a balance. It has to be a great balance. You know, what do we do for our me time, Arthur? I enjoy going to the spa. I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy all of that. What do you do?
I play golf.
You love golf.
I love golf.
He enjoys
You
golf.
know, but that's just one of the things. I do so many
You
things.
do. But I
you
want
know.
to start playing golf.
Kim, I don't think it would be good for you to play golf.
You don't think so?
No. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm going to strongly encourage you to pick up another sport. You know, how about that game you thought you used to play, tennis? Why don't you try something like that?
I'm not good.
You know, but I play tennis. He just doesn't see me play tennis.
Kim,
You know,
the last time I saw you play tennis, it was like maybe 20 years ago.
I play tennis, you know, but it's still good to release and to let things out, you know.
You get your full body exercise.
You do.
Yeah.
So I get my me time. I do.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to all relationships, even if you're a single parent, you know, whereas even spirituality may not be a force in your relationship where you attend church on a regular basis, but there are good things that you can do for yourself, such as enjoying your children, being able to take walks together, going to the park, being able to, the symphony is a wonderful way, and if you can't afford to go to the symphony, you know, there's a CD you can buy to enjoy music together in the home. Reading is an excellent tool for the family to get together, have a book club within the family.
One of the things that I really enjoy doing is like reading the Bible.
Reading the Bible
and
is good.
Especially when you and I discuss the Bible together, we may come up with a particular scripture that we want to discuss. I mean, that's something exciting to me.
That is exciting, but again, I want to stress, all our viewers are not in a spiritual realm. So I want to emphasize that that's something that we do, being raised in a particular church and denomination. But I'm saying to you that that does not make you a bad person. It does not make, we don't want to ostracize you, but we want to say to you that there's so many things that you can do to enjoy your life. Am I right?
Good reading material.
Good reading material, inspirational material.
Inspirational material.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with
Board games.
Oh, board games. I love Scrabble.
Yep. Scrabble, board games.
You know, we can ready to go to family life retreat. Don't you say anything.
No. I'm not, since you brought that up, Kim.
What?
You know that Scrabble and games like Monopoly, you're not honest in.
He thinks that our daughter and I, we cheat. I don't know how you could possibly cheat on Monopoly.
Monopoly, they have a hotel on one, they have a house on one of the things, and the next thing you know, they got 2 or 3 hotels.
But Scrabble has the dictionary right there.
Yeah.
Brandon, can you cheat in Scrabble? Come on, help a sister out.
I'm not sure. I've always played the game by the rules.
By the rules. I do too. I play by the rules. We're going to play a game at our family retreat.
Kim and my daughter are innovative. They can come up with new ideas on how to cheat.
Well, board games are excellent. I love board games. He won't participate.
No.
Let me say this. It's so important. We have children today that are not being cared for, not being loved, not being treated in a way to make them become positive and productive. What can we say to those young people today who may be harboring that pain, you know, didn't have a healthy parental relationship?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is something that affects us all at all ages. When we harbor bad feelings, they keep us from seeing the positive future that we can have. And they rob us of our energy and our ability to pursue that positive future.
Yes.
It's also like a cancer that eats you from the inside out.
Yes.
And so it's just the bearer of bad feelings that suffers.
Yes.
And once you realize that, it's a lot easier to make a decision to put it away and give yourself the better outlook that you deserve.
Oh, definitely. Some of the things that, we talk about in counseling, avoidance. You can't avoid. You can run, but you can't hide, that cliche. You have to, sooner or later, deal with the issues at hand of your pain. Because if not, that pain will be recycled to the next generation, to the next generation, to the next generation. And you will begin to see it in your children and their children. So you have to get some help. There are people available to help you and your family. Because you hear this a lot. I don't want anyone to know my business. I don't want people to know I'm hurting. But you don't have to do this alone, am I right?
Well, that's really important. People have to understand that there is help available.
It is help.
But that old cliche is that I don't want anyone to know my business is a barrier. And unfortunately, it causes people to carry the pain for years and years and years. In many cases, we have people that come to our office that have had difficulty in forgiving a person in their family, and they don't even remember where the argument originated from.
Where did it originate from? And that's devastating, know. So some of the things, again, to help you understand, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to address the issue. Don't avoid it. Be able to do something. Now, I'm confrontational, as you know. I don't run from a problem.
I never would have thought that.
You would never thought that. But I had to learn how to put it in balance. Let's talk about balance. What balances out your relationship?
Well, for me, I think Alice touched on it earlier, particularly when she talked about the me time piece.
Yes.
Acknowledging that there are other things and interests that I have as an individual. And I touched on it, I think earlier, or just before her comments, when I talked about the regularity of the spiritual program in the family. And I think you got to have all of those pieces in place, and that's really what makes it work for us.
Definitely. But one of the things that seems to stand out, train up a child in the ways to go. That tends to be the essence of really how a person can mature in life and demonstrate the type of behavior that's acceptable, that's willing to make amends when they're wrong, and to do the things that's necessary to improve their relationship. That background is what you were taught, and I think at this point in our society today, a lot of our young people are unable to have that type of support and guidance and mentorship that's required to make them a better person.
And they haven't been taught to forgive. What is forgiveness? What it is to trust? What it is to have, be loyal? The values. Our children today are not being raised with a value system and a guideline within that value system. So I think these things are very important. Arthur, I really admire you as a father, as a husband, as I do Brandon. When I look at different men that I surround myself with, when I see you and Brandon together, I always put a smile on my face because you're men of integrity, you're strong men, you're family men, you love your family, you love your wives. Isn't that right?
I'm very fortunate.
You're very fortunate, because love is crucial in a relationship, and that gives you the forgiveness, all right? I think it's important that couples tell each other they love each other every day,
But let me go back to what you just said in regards to Brandon and myself.
Yes.
I tend to believe that it was something that we acquired over the years. We both, I'm speaking for me mainly, but I've made mistakes in my past that I had to learn from, and it was painful.
Yes.
It wasn't something that was easy. It was a painful learning experience. But I wanted to get better. And I think what you added, Brandon, the spirituality was the motivation to drive me to try to get close to what I think a man should really be.
Right.
You know,
right.
I want to reach that point, and that's continuous and constant work. And to have a mate that can recognize that is encouraging.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and I think I'm very fortunate, Kim.
And I think that's what our bond has been over the years, and our friendship and our relationship. And it wasn't just there. We have worked at it. Even though Brandon and I had a relationship as children together, and very few of our friends today are even alive today, Brandon.
And let me say something. You, Brandon, and Alice has had this friendship for many, many years.
Yes.
Where I came into the church.
Yes.
And because of my relationship with you, I accepted them, and they accepted me.
Oh, you did. You really did.
But in the meantime, we established among ourselves a personal relationship.
Yes, we did.
With each other. I mean, I can talk to Alice about certain things. I can talk to Brandon about certain things. But that was because I was open and willing, to move forward and to improve my lifestyle and to make sure that you and I had a full and enjoyable working relationship together.
Yes, don't we have a ball at camp meeting?
Yeah. Love it. Every moment of it.
Kim, do you think that would be a kudo for me, so that when I get home that you can cook me something special?
I don't know, but I'm gonna try to cook dinner tonight. I don't know, I'm not making any promises. But the one thing I want to say about the dance was that when I was mismanaging my funds, and even though the funds were there, I didn't have an issue with finances, but sitting down at their workshop and their seminars, it really put a new light on me. And we had talked to other people, but I think because of our relationship and my trust for Brandon and Alice, but our friendship as children, that I could go to someone who I knew wasn't ashamed, this is what I need to do. And I have to say that things have turned around 360 degrees.
But it wasn't only your trust, it was my trust as well.
And I came to you, definitely.
We had to work this through, and that was a difficult time.
It was a very difficult time, but the Lord brought us through, and we're able to help people, and especially children with Christian education. I'm just excited about this. I am so excited about making it work and how to help people make it work. And as the program grows, we all grow.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about. This has been phenomenal. Listen, we want you to come back. Will you come back and be with us again?
Yes,
of course. Oh, great. But listen, before we do our farewells, because it's just been so wonderful having you here, we're going to come back with some interesting ideas and more topics in just a few minutes. We want to thank Brandon and Alice Dent for being with us today on Making It Work.
It's been great.
May God continue to bless you, encourage you, and continue to allow you to be the head and not the tail. God bless you both.
Amen.
We want to thank all of you for being with us today on Making It Work. And I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
I'm Arthur Nolan.
And thank you for joining us on Making It Work.